call. This is what it's all about. And we will go ahead and mute all. You can unmute yourselves. By the way, I'll repeat it. We're under a tornado warning. And there's a lot of lightning and thunder right now outside. So if all of a sudden I'm gone, I really need to make a co-host. I saw Penny here earlier. Penny, I'm going to make you a co-host. If for some reason I just go blank, pick up where I left off, please. Penny is a regional director premier, and Miyaka in her team is also a regional director premier. So congratulations. Anyway, I'm going to get this started. Here we go. I'm going to record.
Recording in progress.
Welcome everyone to the Testimonial Tuesday, June 3rd, Fat Club 24/7. It's exciting times. A lot of things being implemented at this company. They've been around for 8 years. They're debt-free. They're privately held. However, I think we're the first real major network marketing team to hit this company. And we had some suggestions, and they're implementing every single one of them. And it's going to make this, it's just going to grease the skids on this company. Fantastic product line. I love the fact that it's something from nature. It's actually a whole food concept. When I was in practice, in the beginning, we would find all these different, deficiencies, and we would try to treat them. But the problem is the innate intelligence of the body just wasn't having it. So we gravitated more and more towards remedies that were more complex, like nature, more whole food based. And it became very apparent as we became wiser that it was smarter with the whole food approach. So the mind of man, I often called it, with breakthrough science and all of these things. You look back over the past century and all of that breakthrough science, it actually caused worse health than it did give us better well-being and better health. And it's because we can't, with our own minds, fathom the complexity and the balance that's just natural in nature. And we want to dominate it and come up with these ideas. Like I remember when I was a kid, we had, I remember parents who were, you have an open mic, whoever's talking. So you might want to find a mute. My grandparents and parents were ranchers, and they had dairy cows. I need to find whoever's talking. Oh, Tim. Tim, you might want to, find your mute button. Thank you. They had dairy cows, but you would sit down at breakfast and they'd have, I remember them saying, pass the oleo margarine. And they thought it was better for their hearts and better for their health because that's what they were told by people marketing things to them. But actually, it's not. It's the next level. It's almost plastic. They bubble hydrogen through seed oils at high temperatures so that it's almost impossible to break down. So it ends up being toxic for your liver. And anything that's toxic for your liver is bad for your heart, bad for your cardiovascular system, bad for your brain. And so in along the way, they come up with a great idea of eliminating fat. So everything went to no fat. Then people started having gallbladder issues and liver issues and even more brain issues because the brain is composed of fat and cholesterol. The membranes of our cells are composed of cholesterol. And the liver needs a certain amount of oil. Now we know essential fatty acids. And when you starve it of these fatty acids, what happens is the liver doesn't function properly. So your blood goes haywire. Your cholesterol actually goes up. It it can't balance the lipids anymore. Then the whole fake sugar thing. I remember, so everything was sugar free. Well, what did they put in place of sugar? They put fake sugar. I remember seeing a study where mice were given the same diet, but the ones were giving diet soda and others given regular soda. The ones on the diet soda gained weight and had diseases because it started messing with their livers, and their satiety center was constantly stimulated, so they ate more. And so all of these ideas of man might be well-intentioned, but I think the real intention was to make money. So it always backfires. So I love that we have something from nature, the whole food, that's been recognized from ancient cultures, the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Romans, all throughout Europe, all throughout Asia. We worked with remedies in traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine that had Coriolis versicolor, but I've never seen results like we're getting currently. And I wanted to add that we've talked about, when I talk about 80,000 approved chemicals in our air, food, and water, and that's a conservative estimate. 80,000 approved chemicals was years ago, and these chemicals don't go away. They break down into other chemicals, actually, so it becomes more complex. And sometimes during the breakdown phase, they become even more toxic. But I came across an article that talked about all of the substances and all of the foods that are banned in other countries because of how bad they are for people's health, but they're openly used in the United States. And why is that? The reason is these people are all compromised. The people that make our products are all compromised. I read last week that 82% of independent published studies show no harm from processed food. Independent published studies show harm from processed food. I read that wrong. I was like, wait a minute. 82% show harm from processed foods. So those are the real studies because they're independent. But industry sponsored, which, they pay money to have a study done, 93% of those show no harm. And that's the way the world works, all based on money. How do you think that we have foods and things that are used in our industry and our food that are banned in other countries? Because the food industry pays people in Congress, so they're compromised because they're getting paid by these people to make certain laws. So those people are getting rich, not protecting us. And yet we send them to Washington to protect us. But they're being paid to not protect us. Just a quick example, there's pages upon pages, way too many to cover on one call, of all of the foods and substances that are banned in other countries that are allowed here. But just to give you an idea, pink slime that's used here in meat products, it's a filler and it helps to lower fat content. And the meat that they use it with is gassed with ammonia to kill the bacteria, and it creates a fresh pink look. So people actually buy it. But it's the gassing with ammonia that gives it that pink color. Livestock, including pork, cattle, turkeys, are giving ractopamine, which causes them to gain weight quickly. But when the consumers eat it, because they eat the meat, it causes the consumer to gain weight, and it causes increased heart rate. Commercial chickens are fed lots of antibiotics because they're raised practically on top of one another, and they can hardly move, and they're given hormones so that they gain weight faster. Then when they kill them, they're soaked in a mixture of chlorine bleach to lower the bacteria content and help preserve them. So that all goes to us. Baby carrots are also soaked in chlorine bleach, and that ends up in us. And that's a heavy duty toxin. Many meats are preserved with sodium nitrate, salt. It's been proven to cause cancer and migraines. Bread is bleached. So white bread is bleached with potassium bromate. And almost everyone, when you test people, almost everyone, 100%, are toxic levels of bromine. And one of the things that bromine interferes with is iodine, because it replaces the iodine. And guess what else replaces iodine? Fluoride that they put in our water. So it's no wonder there's so many thyroid issues, because the thyroid needs iodine and it's struggling because it's being replaced by these toxins in our environment, including the fluoride in water. Not only bread, but those chemicals, including azobidocarbamide, which along with the potassium bromide, used to bleach flowers, also found in sneakers, in yoga mats, in curtains, and in furnishings, and in bedding. It's like everywhere. It's in hot tubs. It's like in everything that we're exposed to. Red maraschino cherries, red dye 40, is linked to allergies, cancer, migraines, mental issues in children. GMOs, we've talked about GMOs a lot, intestinal damage. That causes compromise of the liver function. It leads to birth defects and organ damage. The liver has 600 known functions, everything to do with the blood. Almost all corn and soy is GMO. It's almost hard to find foods that aren't affected with GMOs these days in the United States, banned in other countries. Artificial blueberries, get this, in snack bars and other products, especially fed to children, are petroleum-based. They're not even berries at all. They're linked to brain cancer, hyperactivity, and nerve cell damage. Apples in the United States sprayed with carcinogenic DPA. Coffee made with hydrogenated and cottonseed and soy oil, known to cause liver and heart issues. Our dairy in the United States is given RBST growth hormones. It disrupts human hormones. It's known to cause cancer, premature growth in children. I could go on and on and on for the next hour because of 80,000 approved chemicals that we come in contact with constantly. There's no way we can avoid it. And we need things to support our body, to support our immune system. It's no wonder the disease rates are on the increase. You look at all the different diseases, whether it's metabolic disorders or cancers or autoimmune diseases, inflammatory diseases, brain diseases, autism, Alzheimer's, all of these things, all increasing quite rapidly, in fact, because we're going the wrong direction. We need, as a culture, to take more personal responsibility, which includes finding things like the Coriolis versicolor mushroom that the ancients knew about, but now has been standardized by modern technology. It's the best of both worlds, because with modern technology, they were able to track, why has it been so wonderful? Why did the ancient Egyptians know that it increased lifespan? Why did the ancient Chinese know that they lived longer if they consumed Coriolis versicolor, that they were more vigorous and stronger when they used it? Why did it work? Well, they took modern technology, mostly in Asia, and they figured it out. They figured out all of these polysaccharides that are amazing, that support the immune system, that support gut function, and liver function, and brain function. And it's a whole food that's been offered to us from nature. And we've recognized it innately as people, but it was kind of suppressed in more modern times in lieu of man's breakthroughs, man's modern medicine. But look what it's led to. It's led to an actual disaster. So we need to regain a reverence for life. We need to regain a reverence for common sense. And we need to employ these things in our daily existence. And the Coriolis versicolor mushroom is an amazing tool in a battle that we have just to keep well and to keep strong and live longer and better lives. So I am so thankful to have found this company that has standardized it and figured out what the most pure and potent strain is, figured out what the best way to extract it, because it's not a simple thing to do. And it's grown now here organically in the United States. There are people that can find competing products of this, but they're not going to get the same results. I know, because I've used this mushroom, this functional mushroom, before from other sources, and no one gets the results like we do and like we are, because we have this unique, pure and potent strain in a proprietary extraction process that protects all the beneficial ingredients. So that's why we have these testimonial calls, to help people understand how powerful this is. And I want to call on, first of all, Tim McEnany. And Tim is another referral from my buddy Bill Kraft. And we had a referral from him just on here recently. and it was amazing. And Bill is on a mission, finding these people because he really understands the power of what we have. And I want to see if Tim McEnany, Tim, you had your microphone unmuted there early. I see you're open now. Tell us your story, Tim. It's an awesome story.
All right. Well, I'm trying to remember it again.
I think you can.
I worked for the public for 46 years in retail, and all through the whole pandemic, I didn't have a sniffle, cough, or anything. And then May 28th, 2022, I got the plague, whatever it was, I don't know. And I had the normal, the flu symptoms with the cold and the sore throat, but my sore throat never went away. And after 2 months, well, people said, well, maybe it was long COVID, or maybe it's this or that. Well, in 2019, I switched insurance companies, and since I don't ever get sick, I never thought about getting another doctor. And after the pandemic started, you couldn't find a doctor, and I still can't get a doctor. So I just put off going to the doctor and put it off going to the doctor. And then finally, in December of last year, December 30th, I decided I would have to go to the urgent care because I couldn't get a doctor appointment anywhere in the state of Oregon, or anywhere that they would, other than our naturopathic doctor, which we were going to. But it started to affect I could feel there was something growing in my mouth, and it was starting to affect my breathing. So I decided I better go to urgent care. So I did, and the doctor was freaking out because she said your air passage is almost completely blocked. So she said you need to go immediately to Good Samaritan Hospital in Portland for a CT scan. So that's where we went, and then ear, throat, and nose doctor came in and took a biopsy of me, and biopsy came back and said it's cancer. Okay, so it's cancer. So then they started setting up the treatment plan, and I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly when, but my brother Bill Kraft said, well, here, you should take these mushrooms. Okay, so he set me up with the mushrooms, and I started taking them. And of course, at first, the doctor was pretty pessimistic because my tumor was in my throat, my mouth, my soft palate, and up into my sinuses. It was very, very large. And so about 3 weeks into my treatment, I'd taken 2 chemotherapy sessions as well, which killed my immune system, and I got the influenza A. And I was very close to death, apparently, is what they tell me. I spent 10 days in the hospital. So I got out of the hospital, I weighed 139 pounds, and they told me not to take my supplements anymore. So I didn't take the mushrooms for a few days, and then my wife and I decided, well, that's crazy. I'm going to take the dang mushrooms. So I started taking the mushrooms again, and pretty soon the doctor was amazed. A few weeks later, because my tumor had shrunk so much that they had to redo my mask. I had to have a mask to hold me still, and it no longer was going to work because my tumor was so small. From the grace of God, my brother Bill, and the mushrooms. I know that's what it's from. So I had another 3 weeks of treatment to do, and went through the whole treatment of the radiation treatment, and it affected my hearing because I lost most of my hearing in my left ear, and now I have no saliva, and my tongue is coming back, but it's still, as you can tell, I'm not talking quite properly yet. But I know in my heart, and the Lord has told me that it's the mushroom, the Lord, and that's what has saved my life. Because when I started taking the
Wow.
mushrooms again, immediately I started feeling better. Like the next day,
Wow.
immediately, and I feel better pretty much every day. I mean, I got a long way to go yet because I was down about as low as a man could go and still be among the living, but I
Wow.
am so much better, and the mushrooms are saying,
Well, congratulations, Tim, that you had the faith. You took a leap of faith
most
and
definitely.
started taking them again. That's awesome.
So
Yeah,
the
one thing
mushrooms, the
the
mushrooms work.
doctors
There's no
aren't.
doubt.
That's amazing. The doctors aren't schooled in nutrition, so they don't
No.
know. And if there's something they don't know about, they want to adhere to their standard of care, what they do know about, because they're afraid to recommend anything else outside of that standard, because then they risk losing their license.
Right.
They risk possible lawsuits, things like that. So typically they do not deviate. So you took a strong leap of faith, and congratulations.
And I'm back to my normal weight of 165 now.
Wow.
So I gained the weight that I lost before I went to the hospital. So
Wow. Awesome. Congratulations, Tim. Thank you so much.
yes, thank you. It's a
Awesome.
miracle, truly a miracle.
It is truly a miracle. Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, I really appreciate your coming on. I'm going
Yeah,
to bring up Monique, and Monique is going to introduce Jeannie because Jeannie got cut off last week. And we're going to bring Jeannie on to finish her story. So, Monique, can you light up?
Yes. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Jerry.
Thank you.
When I find something profound, I call this Coriolis versica profound. Out of the 100 of products that I've used, I want to tell everybody. And my good friend,
Can I quickly interrupt Monique and let everyone know that you are a microbiologist?
yep, you can.
You
And I
know,
do my due
you
diligence.
obviously know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I always do my due diligence before I try something and before I share it with anyone. I have to know that it's got the science behind it. But my good friend Jeannie, we've shared in businesses before, and many times the owners did not keep their end of the bargain. So a few years ago, she said, Monique, I love you, but don't ever call me again about any product that has to do with networking. But you know, when you know that something is just profound, I don't want to be pushy, but I want to be persistent. So sure enough, I called Jeannie, and Jeannie, are you there? And you want to tell your side of the story and what's happened in the last few weeks?
Sure, thank you. I do apologize to everybody, Monique, for last week being cut off. And we're having really bad weather here, Dr. Jerry, as you are. So if I leave this time, it's because of of no internet. But I'll try to do this very quickly. And I want to say thank you to all those who step up and give us all the encouragement with their testimonies. It is just so amazing. And my story is by in no way as profound as some of the ones that I have heard, but to me it's profound because I'm 73, and I was having liver and kidney issues, and COVID left me with AFib. And so I felt like I was just, going downhill. And when Monique called me about this, I thought, oh, goodness gracious. I said, Monique, I'll think about it. And then it's like I kept getting this little nudge on my shoulder, you need to learn more. So I started looking and reading, and I had blood work in December the 31st and had seen my doctor in January, and I had been on the same regimen of about 20 different supplements for a year, and it just kept me at a kind of an even keel, but some of my numbers were declining, not very fast, but just declining. And when I saw her in January, she said, we're probably going to have to look at medication for your kidneys and your liver. She said, your D3 is low and your B12 is low, and you've got some issues with with your kidney numbers. So I said, well, we'll talk about it, but I need to see what I can find. It happened so in February, the end of February, that Monique called me and told me about the mushrooms, and I got them on March the 20th, I believe, and I left everything else off, and I took nothing but the mushrooms. And after 3 weeks, my eyesight felt like it was getting better, and my glasses everything was blurry, and I'm thinking that could not have happened in 3 weeks. And then I heard somebody's testimony that they had uh, better eyesight after taking the mushrooms. So I thought, well, I'm going to wait and see the numbers. So I had blood work done again in May. Was supposed to have it done in April, and I called her and asked her, could we do it in May? Because I wanted to at least be on the mushrooms at least 8 weeks. And she said, sure. So I had my blood work done May 6th, went in on May 13th. She walks into the room and she says to me, what are you doing? And I said, well, that depends if it's good or bad. And she said, well, it's rather good. And I said, well, I'm on some mushrooms. And she said, your kidney functions are normal. Your liver function is normal. She said, your D3 is normal. Your B12 is normal. She said, your cholesterol is, it was 230 and it was down to 212. She said, your good cholesterol is up by 10 points and your bad cholesterol is down from 169 to 139. And I said, well, that's good, right? And she said, well, it is. But she said, so that's all you're doing? And I said, I quit doing everything, all my supplements, except for the 5 different mushrooms that I take on a daily basis and for the last 8 weeks. So I got my report, and I asked her to print it out for me, and everything that was low and out of place on December was normal for May. And I had every one of my numbers had come up on 96% of that metabolic panel. So I was so excited I couldn't contain myself. I sent all my blood work to Monique, and I said, look at this blood work. And she was very excited. And since then, I have gone to the doctor. I go and have glasses once a year, and went to the doctor, and I hadn't seen this particular doctor in 11 years. And so I had run over my glasses, and my doctor, my regular doctor, don't take my insurance anymore. So I had to go back to her. And so I went to her, and she did my eye test, and she brought my glasses back to me, which I was using as a makeshift. And she said, your eyesight, she said, your eyes have changed just so minutely that I just, you're doing very well. And I said, okay, can you tell me what my reader part of my progressives are? And she said they're at 2.75. Well, I have my last year's glasses that I ran over. I have that prescription, and the readers part of those progressives were 3.25. So the numbers, my eyesight is better. I don't have to wear my glasses all the time, and my numbers are better. And I have not had one breakthrough of AFib since I've been on the mushrooms. So I'm ecstatic, and I don't mind. I love to share, but I wanted to make sure that it wasn't all in my head, because I wanted it to happen so much, so badly. And I just want to thank Monique for always, she's been I call her my life health coach for the last 35 years because she has kept me healthy and off of medicine and only on the natural route for 35 years. And I feel like I'm healthier than I've ever been, and I just want to thank her for that. And I want to thank all of you for sharing your stories because they're an encouragement to people like me.
Wow. That's awesome, Jeannie. By the way, do you mind sharing what you're taking and how much?
Yes, I take 3 of the I don't say that word very good, but the capsule, yes, sir. I take 3 of those in the morning and 3 at night, and then I take 2 of the Clarity, the Enforce Plus, the Restore, and the other one. I take 2 of each of those once a day, but I take 3 of the Coriola versus Cola in the morning and 3 at night.
Wow.
And my husband comes in and he says to me, I was giving them to him, but when I started running low because I was, I had got my regimen going, I stopped his because he's taking a lot of supplements and he's healthy. And he comes in, he says, "Are you going to keep all that good stuff for yourself?" So he signed up and he got his own 5 bottles.
There you go. There you go. Sign him up.
But thank y'all very much.
Thank you. That's awesome. By the way, thank you. Thank you so much for speaking out and coming back after being disconnected last week.
Oh, always.
Awesome.
I love these sessions. I learn so much. And I just feel like it's a way for me to help other people because I can share the other testimonies.
That's what happens. It gives other people, they might click, oh wow, maybe this could help me. Yeah, so that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have Al Peters somewhere out there. Al?
Thank you, Dr. Jerry. This is Liddy. And Al actually texted me today, and Al said, I am so apologizing. He said, we have been chopping hay for the past 2 days. He's in a stage 4 challenge for the last 12 years, been trying to figure out how to beat this battle. And he said, I have more energy and vitality. We had to try to beat the rain. And he said, but tonight, because it did rain, I'm needing to sleep a little bit. So he said, I'd rather be sharp for the calls. And he would like to do his testimonial maybe on Thursday. And but he will be on. He said,
okay.
I will tell you a couple things if I may. He said, I've been on it for 7 weeks. I've been taking 14 a day. He said, I have more energy. I've gone to see my chiropractor. My chiropractor says, who are you? He said, you look different. He said, he's taken up his belt a couple notches. He said the smoke, because of the smoke that we have coming in from the Canadian fires, are so devastating that it's been real challenging. But he said, I have had more energy. He said, here's the test. He's got a senior working for them as they are actually doing this chopping. And he said that he told him that he would race him. He said, so this 18-year-old, he's 62. The 18-year-old said, alrighty, I'll race you. He said, we ran 300 feet and I beat him. He said, wow. What does that tell you? So he said, I'm feeling great. He said, I have never experienced anything like this. And he said, as he was driving the tractor, he said the Lord kind of gave him a message and said, how am I going to talk to the world? So he said, that's what's on my heart. And he's grateful because his dear friend told him about it. And he said, I am about to impact the world because I am so overjoyed with how I am and I'm feeling. So that's what I can report from Alan. He every day says, here's another person I talked to, and this person's waiting for a call or they'll call you. So thank you. Back to you, Dr. Jerry.
Thank you. Thank you, Liddy. And yeah, we could have him on Thursday or even next Tuesday, whatever works better for him. And by the way, everyone loved your call Sunday, so you're back on again Fun Day Sunday.
Oh, Fun Day Sunday?
Yeah.
I have to tell
that
you,
works.
I just really appreciated your call tonight because of the fact that when you listen to that dialogue and you get real and you start looking in the mirror and you start reading labels, and it's like we don't even want to know all of this anymore. But you know what? The question is, are we toxic? And who's not? And you know what? It's so heartbreaking when we know that we are dying from the start. And I think that we've got such an abundant blessing. We've been rescued. I feel we've been rescued. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been rescued. Thank you so much. We're going to bring on Twanzel. Twanzel, are you out there? Mr. Twanzel. I see Reggie started to unmute. We'll go ahead and go to, in fact, Reggie Powell referred actually Pastor Robert Moreland. Pastor Robert Moreland, are you there? Or Pastor Robert Moreland's son, Terrell Moreland. Are you there, Terrell?
Okay,
Is that you?
Dr. Jerry, this Pastor Moreland.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can, Pastor Moreland. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me? Okay. All right.
We can. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Pastor Robert Moreland, and we're just happy to be here tonight and be able to share what God has done. I have to give Him the glory for what I've seen, what I've experienced, because I was introduced to the mushroom therapy, and but it was actually it was intended. I got it intended for my son, which you'll hear from tonight. But at the same time, um, I shared the majority of it with him, and I began to take the mushroom therapy too. It was the I can't even say the word right.
Sorry. We don't
You know
just
what I'm
say
saying.
Enforce. Yeah, we know what you mean. Yeah.
The Enforce. I started taking the Enforce, and on April 30th, and 1 week later, in May the 7th, I began to see now. Now this is what I did, everyone. I journalized my my progress because I'm a blood pressure patient, and my doctor gave me this in a little chart that I can uh, document my blood pressure readings. So um, after one week of taking the mushroom therapy, I began to see my numbers come down. Now I've been looking for a product, or I've been taking all type of supplements and everything to to bring my blood pressure down, and I didn't find anything yet until uh, the mushroom till I started taking the mushroom therapy, and so within 1 week of taking the mushroom therapy, I see my numbers coming down, and then like another week later, around uh, May uh, May 14th, I wrote my number down, and I ain't take no. I tested it. I said I'm not going to take no meds. No meds. I'm just gonna take because my numbers was down. I didn't take no. I didn't take no medication, doctor, and everyone. My numbers was like. I'm gonna give you an example. I took no meds, but my numbers was like 131 over 82.
Wow.
That's in the morning, right? And then I move on to the afternoon, evening. It even got better. 122 over 75.
Wow.
Okay. So in other words,
That's like
I went the
efficient
whole
athlete.
day. I went the whole day, doctor, and everyone, without no medication, Now, it's been some days that I'm down to now actually taking my medication one time a day versus twice a day. Because some days I believe because of my activity and all that I have to deal with as a pastor and the family, being a father and being a super dad and everything, uh, there's been some days where my pressure was up a little bit more, but for the most part, it's been consistent from May 14th all the way up until now. To I call it the mushroom therapy have kept me in the normal range. I even looked up my age bracket or what it should be according to my age, and the mushroom therapy has been keeping it in the normal. I call it the safety zone without the medication.
That's amazing.
Okay,
But
so I just give God the glory and the praise for that, and also just real quick, um, another thing I believe that mushroom therapy did. I believe I guess I was dealing with the neuropathy in my feet, where where I had to have you've heard the insoles called good feet, right?
right, right.
Okay. Well, with the mushroom therapy, I believe I'm I don't need the good feet no more because my um, my feet hurt when I step into my good feet supports. I walk around now with just my Skechers Arch Fit,
Uh,
and I'm comfortable, and
interesting.
my feet is not hurting.
Interesting.
And
They,
and
they,
the,
they
and the doctor,
restored the function.
say that again.
It restored the function of your feet. That's
Yes, it
amazing.
did. Yes, it did. And because my foot doctor told me, say, well, Mr. Moreland, you probably gonna have to be wearing them good feet for the rest of your life, or
Right.
we're gonna have to do surgery. And I said, no, I didn't
Wow.
want to. I said, I want to do surgery. I said, I just wear the good. I just wear my insoles. But the enforce the mushroom therapy, I believe, have restored my feet as well. So that I ain't gonna hold up the
Wow.
time because I can say much more. But I'm gonna let my son Terrell to go ahead and give you his testimony, what the Lord has done for
Awesome.
him.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robert, Pastor Robert.
You're welcome.
Terrell,
Dr. Jerry,
yeah.
before you go to Terrell Moreland, the son, for everyone on the call, you're listening to a gentleman that had a stroke. Does he sound like he has any challenges from that stroke? So,
None.
for those that are wondering, what does the mushroom therapy do for a person that has high blood pressure or has had a stroke? You're speaking to a stroke survivor. Back to you, Dr. Jerry.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. That's
Amen.
fantastic. So amazing. Yeah, God is truly good. Is Terrell there? Terrell Moreland? We led up quite an introduction with your father here as well, Terrell.
Well,
Well, maybe Terrell can tune in either Thursday or next Tuesday or Sunday, maybe another night. I think we'll go ahead and wrap. We've been here for 45 minutes. I do want to say that thank you for everyone that stepped up and
Can y'all
shared
hear
their
me?
stories.
Dr.
Go
Jerry,
ahead.
he's here. He's here.
Okay, awesome. Go ahead, Terrell.
Good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me?
We
Yes,
can.
loud and
All
clear.
right. My name is Terrell Moore. I'm the son of Pastor Robert. Just a quick testimony about my results. So back in 2024, September 2024, I had a fracture in my spine. So I got grade 3, and then I was diagnosed with a DVT in my right calf muscle, my prenatal vein. Um, Prior to it, um, I basically suffered a lot of pain throughout the. It's been like 9 months since then. I've gotten a lot better. I've taken a lot of medication before then. Um, different for my nerves running down my right leg. So just quick, this little short uh, testimonial of it. So I got introduced by Reggie and his good friend, and then my father introduced it to me. Um, Prior to that, this basically from my spine, I'm still dealing with the fracture, but it's a lot better. But prior to that, I was walking probably no more than probably about a mile before I got introduced to that. That was like in March, when I started with the the flagship product, and then the the shield, and then the other product for the Reforce. Um, I was I was doing only about a mile or so, and now been taking it for say about 30 days and 34 days. Now I'm up to probably about 3 miles of walking consistently. So that's a big difference from the standpoint of where I was. That's before I was walking. So I was able to walk consistently pretty much for almost 3 miles. That's big significance for me,
Okay.
because I wasn't
Huge.
even walking before then. Before then, before I start feeling better, only probably like 20 minutes. So, but I was getting better throughout the time because it's been like I said, 9 months. Um, Now, the other thing that I noticed from that I feel that supported me were my feet. Um, where my feet used to hurt a lot on the top when I used to walk, a lot of pain because of the nerve endings from the spine. That was
Right.
significant. Where my feet wasn't hurting a lot. I used to have a lot of pain in there. So I think the contributing factor there was the shield, which helps with circulation.
Right.
Now the DVT results, I just got cleared from my doctor on Tuesday. Now I'm basically been on it for 34 days. Now prior to that, I already had a um, a blood test and also ultrasound to see where my DVT, where I still had the blood clot because I was taking Eliquis and all that stuff before. My doctor took me off all the medications prior to that to see what was going on, to see if I still had the blood clot, which I did the month before. The month before I started the the nutrition with the Enforce, the mushrooms, I did have the DVT, but the factor was that one of my veins was basically it was getting better, but I still did have it. Now I believe only been up for about 34 days. I believe the product, the nutrition, had a big significance to do with that because of the factor of my feet started feeling better, my spine, the circulation, and also the rebuilding process of the body restoring itself. So that's a big testimony. That give God all the glory for that, and it's really a great product. Like I said, I document every single thing that I do. So with the combination of eating the right proper foods, that I also enhance the products, the nutrition. I believe that did support in me being cleared with no longer having the blood clot. So I'll give God all the praise for that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Terrell. That's great. Another great story. Really, really appreciate it. You have a really
Thank
good
y'all.
evening.
Thank y'all.
With all of these stories, you start thinking this is a miracle. This is a miracle product. But the true miracle is the fact that our DNA is communicating trillions of messages, all kinds of mechanisms through nerves and signaling molecules, keeping us well. And all we're doing is supporting life. That's all we're doing. We're giving life a chance. We're using common sense. We're going back to something that's been recognized as being beneficial throughout time and proven by modern technology. So we're employing a common sense thing in our lives. And just like Terrell said, he's doing common sense things as well with his diet. That's what we've got to do. and we will live longer and stronger lives. And we owe it to future generations to do that and to forge the way. And we're on the threshold of this company launching to the world. And all of you here tonight, you're all leaders because you're here early. You're here before most people have heard about this company. And we know that everyone needs this product because everyone's immune system is under siege and everyone's immune system needs support. And so when you have something like that, and it's a very simple conversation, and people figure out pretty quickly, I need that, it's going to go globally. And all of you will have $1 million businesses. That's just what will happen because it will hit critical mass sometime in the next year or two, and it will just start going out from family to family, friend to friend, all around the planet. And you're the one that started it. It's an amazing thing to watch happening, and you're positioned now. So get back to whomever told you about this call. If you're new, get their link and get it exactly, because podcasters love this company and they've optimized some of the search engines. So you want to make sure you click on the link and go exactly to the person that referred you and get started. And you'll have 3 choices. Just be a customer, you get the same price, or be an advocate, you earn on 2 levels of referral, or be an influencer and earn on 9 levels of referral, earn on bonuses on all the packs, earn revenue sharing, and earn to infinity. Is just common sense. Be an influencer, join the club, and we'll see you on the call on Sunday. And well, actually, we'll be here Thursday. Don't forget Thursday, and invite whomever you know that needs the benefit of just common sense wellness, which is like everybody. So invite your friends, invite your family, invite everyone you know. We'll be back on Thursday. God bless you, folks. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you all
Dr.
later.
Jerry, to God
Thank
be the
you.
glory.
Everyone,
Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing
Dr.
call. Amazing
Thank you.
call.
Thank you, Dr.
Dr.
Jerry.
Thank
Take care of yourself in this
you.
Bye,
weather.
Dr. Jerry.
Thank you.
it's a beautiful thing. Thank
God
you
is
so
in the
much.
house, Dr.
Awesome.
Jerry.
God sustenance.
So God is awesome.